So I'll start off showing you how to make small animations in Procreate. And it might be that it's going too fast. So just relax, because afterwards you'll get instruction with all the steps. So please relax and don't be writing everything down, because then you won't be enjoying the whole hour. So I'll first share my iPad with you. Let's go to share screen. Let's see. Oh. So I thought it would be nice to first show you a little bit about me, who I am, because some people might not know me. I'm Laura, I'm from the Netherlands. And like a lot of you, I do creative facilitation, mostly in person, but now also digital, some graphic recording, making animations, and making mind sketch. So I first want to show you a little animation I did for a client, which is a small city in the Netherlands. And this is a mind sketch I made for them to explain how a process or a new policy would go. And then afterwards I said, if I can use it in my portfolio and share it, I will make a little animation out of it for you. So this is how the animation looks. So it's just a little bit of movement in the mind sketch. So with the arrows that are emphasizing that is a process, and also emphasizing the movement of the arm of the mayor, who is showing how can we do it better. So there are different kind of things you could do and want to show. So you could make a GIF to tell a story, to emphasize your story, and to emphasize some parts of it. And you could also show movement, for instance, in the process, or create attention. Also creating intention in the organization, because if things move, people are more likely to take notice of it. And also to do something extra for your client, because if you do it as an extra surprise at the end, they will forget all the struggles with coming to a nice end result, and they'll leave you with a good feeling. And they might be wanting to hire you even more. So I was wondering, do you have more ideas how you could, what you could use the animation for? You can put it in the chat if you have ideas. Yes, let's go to the chat.
Yeah,
For fun, to surprise marketing, definitely. To use it for your CV, yeah. Background video and a website, definitely. Tell your brand story, yeah. Clarity to process. Learning, teaching, yeah, all good ideas. So you don't need a lot of movement, and it definitely to create flow, definitely, Rosanna. So I think Procreate is a good tool to make animations for like small movements. So I'm not gonna make a big animation in Procreate because it will be taking a lot of time. But Procreate is good for small movements. So I'm going to show you how to make these little movements in Procreate, and then afterwards Raquel is going to show you how to do this in Keynote, and then you will see what the difference is and what would you use it for. So as you might have prepared, you see here the bee and the flower. So I'm going to just start with the flower. And if you want to make an animation, I would go to the actions icon in the top, which is like the wrench, and then go to canvas and choose animation assist, and then it's kind of turned on. So when you go to actions, you go to canvas and turn on the switch animation assist. And that is your starting point and the difference between making just a drawing, between drawing and making an animation. So now your whole look is different, and there is a toolbar at the bottom and which says play, pause, settings, and add frame. So play is the way you play it, and then settings, you could choose it, and then you can choose, for instance, frames per second, which is how many frames you show in 1 second. And onion skin frames, that's how many layers you see between the different, if you make, so every layer is a different frame, and it can help to show. So let's go to the one I already made. It's easier to show you. So here you see that I made all these different layers, and every layer is a frame. And as you can see here, you see that the frame I'm working on is like the harshest. It's not transparent, but all the frames before and after are transparent. And you can change how many you can see at onion skin frames. So this is not showing any of the other layers, and now I'm adding. So it could help you create a flow if you want to see what all the movements before are and all the movements after are. But it's also kind of interfering in the look, so you can change between these. And then this is the opacity of the onion skins. And this is also, you can choose one shot or loop or ping pong in the way it is shown. So one shot is just, it will play all the different layers and then stop. Loop, it will keep going, keep going, keep going. And ping pong, it will go and then go back. So let's see the difference. One shot. It will just go and then stop. If I choose loop, it will go and go and go. And then if I choose ping pong, it will be like a ping pong ball going there and going back. So these are the different options you have for the way you want them to be played. So let's go back to our flower and start from the beginning. So as you can see here, I only have one layer. So at the bottom, you see just one frame. So this is my starting point, and I want to make a second frame. So again, go to layers, and I will go to the flower layer. So I ignore the B, I turned it off, and I will duplicate the first one. And then I'll rename the first one frame 1. And the other one frame 2. So it won't get messed up. So you see at the bottom, now I have 2 frames in my video. So now I will be thinking, what do I want to be changing? So I'll leave the first and then make some changes to the second flower. So let's just say I want to have the flower move in the wind. So I could do various things to change it, but let's go to liquefy, which is in the top left. It's like the, what is it called? Like the magic stick. And then I'll choose liquefy, because you can simply just make things move by pushing it around. So I'll choose push and then take my finger and then I push the flower a little bit and then maybe also a little bit the stem and also the leaf. So do you see that there are two frames and they're a little bit different? So if I push play now, you see like bloop, 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 bloop. So it's kind of moving. So for the wind, it's kind of fast. So I'll make it a little bit slower. And let's copy the frame again. So I'll copy frame 2 and go from there and change it, the name to frame 3. And then push liquefy again and move it again. Let's see what kind of effect does it have. Now you see it's kind of moving in the wind a little bit more. Let's do it again. Duplicate, rename. Enter, go to liquefy again. And there's also kind of choices you can make in liquefy, but I like push the best. So now we have 4 frames. It's kind of like it's blowing in the wind, isn't it? So now you have just a little simple movement, and you could do the same, for instance, with all kinds of things like people moving or wind blowing and changing the clouds, or changing the arms of people in the whole sketch note. But now let's say I want to add another dimension. So this is the easy part. You just, every layer is a frame.
Laura,
so let's say, yeah.
Can I stop you just for 1 second?
Please.
And, just show where you found liquefy again. You don't have to do the.
So you see at the top left, next to actions and gallery view, there's this magic stick. It's called adjustments. And then I think that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th option is liquefy.
And how did you slow it down?
Okay, I went to settings and then I changed the frames per second from 7 to 4. So I could also speed it up to 44 frames. So you can play around with it. So I go to settings, it's in the bottom. It's in your bottom toolbar. And there at the top, you see frames per second and you just slide it over. And I find that for like normal kind of things, like you want your eyes to be calm, like 4 is fine. Was that it, Raquel?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. So this is the easy version. So if you want to play around with it, just stick with this. But if you want to make it more complicated and bring in more kind of X, and you know how layers work, then you can take another element. So for instance, the bee. So I made it visible. And when you want 2 elements in one frame to move, you make a group out of it. So here I have in the right, you have your frames and the bee. And then when I take my finger and I select not only the bee, but also the first flower by swiping it to the right. Then both turn blue. And then I press group. Oh, and I should put the B on top. So they are now one frame. So before they were 2 frames, but now when I made a group out of it, they become 1 frame. So this is nice, but if I play it now, you just see the bee in 1 frame, which is kind of strange. So I should have the bee in every frame. So I make a group out of all of them. So I will duplicate the bee and slide it up with my finger, just by selecting it and keeping my finger on it. And I'll make a group again out of this layer. But then I was thinking, what do I want the bee to do? So maybe I want the bee to fly in. So I'll take the select button, which is the little arrow at the top left. And then I will take it and make it go a little bit to the left.
Can I ask you this question again? Show again how you make a group.
Yeah, I will do it again. So now I go and duplicate the bee again. And I would duplicate by selecting the bee and then swiping it to the right, and then you can choose duplicate. So now I have this little bee selected because it's blue, then it's selected. And then I also want the flower to be selected, but when I just put my finger on the flower, it will just only select the flower. So I have to swipe it to the right a little bit. So I'll put my finger on it and just swipe, and then both layers will turn blue. And then at the top of the layer thingy menu, you see layers, delete group. So I select group. And then it turns into a group. It could be nice to rename also. And also, Caroline, I will send you an instruction. So I'll select the bee again and put it a little bit to the left with the selection button. Is there another question, Raquel?
Just why not make a group just by tapping and combine down? Is there a difference?
Just by tapping?
Tapping and then combining down. Is there a difference?
I don't know what.
How you make it? It's okay, but I guess as long as you group them together.
Yeah,
I
if
guess
you have another way, it's fine.
that's fine.
Yeah. So I'll take it a little bit to the left. And sure, I would make more layers normally, but as now I made 4 frames with the bee flying in. And in every frame is a little bit more moved to the left. And then because I put the onion skin on, I can see if it's a flow. And then you see it will look like this. And I could add more so it would fly in totally from the side.
Great.
So I did the same before, just like I showed you here. You see all the layers here. So I did it before, it's just a little bit more steps of the same steps. And this would happen. So this is kind of what I wanted to explain, just an easy way to make a small animation in Procreate. Are there any more questions, Raquel?
They asked, could they be merged instead of grouped? Is there a difference between merge and group in Procreate?
Yes, you could, but then you would never be able to change anything again.
Okay.
So you could if you merged, but then there will be one animation. And then if you thought later, no, I want this a little bit changed, and then they're stuck.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is just an easy way to make it flexible and then make adjustments later. And if you merge them, it's just, this is your picture and you can't change anything about it anymore.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think this was I wanted to show.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So I hope it helped a little bit to make it just a small start.
Yeah,
Start experimenting for yourself. Love to see all the results.
exactly. So just the application and seeing what you can do with it once you start to understand how Procreate works and how you can create small animations there.
Yeah, and I see a question from Steve.
Mhm.
And he says, is there a limit to the number of layers? There is. So it depends on the size of your canvas. So you could also make your canvas smaller in by cropping your and resizing your canvas in actions. If you reach your limits of your layers, because it's not that important that it's huge. So sometimes I would be making a sketch note that they want to print in like a poster size, and then if I want to make an animation out of it, I would resize it to a smaller size so I can have more layers. But if you reach the number of layers and you can't resize anymore, then you could merge the layers, but then all your flexibility is gone. But that's the thing about Procreate. It's also always a limit to size.
Yeah.
Okay, so Raquel, do you want to take it away? And
Yeah, we have so many, so much love for you here in the chat, Laura.
oh, so good.
Everyone's giving you big love here in the chat.
Yeah, so fun to see you all. And Laura Laneout's here in the house.
Yeah. So great. Okay,
Yeah.
so what I'm going to be doing then is we're going to be playing with the same elements. So as long as you have your bee, your flower, and perhaps the globe on different layers, you can join in. So I'm just going to share now. So I'm going to do it like this. And I've got my document camera here because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. Just give me a second because the sun has now set in Finland. So I have to readjust my lighting. It keeps changing every few minutes. So, all right, so I will show you. First things first, what I'd like you to do is open the Keynote. So take Keynote, find it on your iPad. Mine's over there, and I'm going to open it up. And when you open up Keynote, you have you can create a new presentation, and I want you to just press that and choose a basic white presentation. And this is our starting point, and you're always going to have a title slide there, but we're not interested in this title slide at all. So what I want you to do is go down here at the bottom, you'll see a plus sign, and I want you to press that, and that you're going to be adding a slide. And what I want you to scroll down, and you'll see blank slide. So you scroll down, and there is usually your last choice is a blank slide. Okay, now we have a blank slide. Go back to the first slide and delete it. So you tap it again. So I just tapped that slide and I deleted it. So we should have only one slide. Yeah, and that's our starting point. Now, because when you are making GIFs or short animations, you're going to want to make them, let's say, Instagrammable. So go to the ... that you find in the upper right-hand corner, and then go to Document Setup. Okay, you should be finding Document Setup, and you're pressing that. And under Document Setup, you can you have Slide Size, and press that. And now you can choose to make your slide any size you like. So I'm going to choose square because that's quite Instagram friendly. And done. So this is our blank canvas that we can start with. Is that okay? Yeah? Okay. So, so then what I would like you to do, because at the same time, I want you to learn how to use your iPad in an efficient way. Now I'd like you to get out of here and open up whatever app you used to draw. So a lot of you used Procreate, and I'm going to be a rebel, and I'm going to open up Adobe Draw. But it doesn't matter what app you drew on, as long as you have things on 3 different layers. So it might look different for you because you're using a different app. There are some people here who are logging on and using Concepts. It'll look different. So now what we have is your drawing app is open, and you have your Keynote is open, right? So if you flick at the bottom of your, if you have Keynote open and you pull down, pull up, right? If you pull up from the bottom of your screen, you will find different apps that should be here. And your drawing app should be here as well. And now what I'm going to want you to do is I'm going to ask you to pull it up and drag it to this side of the screen. Now, in order for you to do that, you have to have a very, very light touch. And I've drawn here like a butterfly with a finger. So it's like the butterfly touch, all right? So what I want you to do is you have your drawing app there. It should be Procreate or Concepts. And you take it and you, sorry about that. So you have this open here, you take it and you pull it to the side. All right, so now you have a split screen view. This is super, super helpful in many other things that you might be doing, but extremely helpful when you are building an animation and you have the drawing app open at the same time. All right, so we've done that. And then what I want you to do is, I would like you to activate one of the layers, so whatever layer that you have your flower on, and then you're just going to take it and drag it onto the screen next to you. So you can do that in Procreate as well, as long as you hold down on the layer and then you drag it. Yeah? And now I'm on the side of Keynote. And Keynote then, if your object is active, it's going to have these dots around it. And I just want you to resize it by holding down one of the sides. So anything that of the sides that you hold down, you can resize it a little bit. What we're going to do also is, because we want all our elements in our Keynote presentation so we can play with them, we're going to grab the bee, activate the layer, grab the bee, and pull it onto our Keynote side. We can make it a little bit smaller. We don't have to be so precious about what size it is right now. And then we're going to grab our globe, and we're also going to drag it onto the screen and make it a little bit smaller just by grabbing one of the points. It doesn't matter which point you grab, so that we have all our elements there. And now we are going to, I want you to swipe in this direction. So you're going to grab the middle of the screen. There's a little toggle, and we just pull it and it goes away, because we don't need the drawing app anymore. We have dragged and dropped all our elements onto this screen. Is that okay? Are we okay right now, Laura?
There are a lot of questions.
Oh no! Okay.
But I think it's just the pace, and I think for people it's good to see it now, and you can also see the recording again.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, I'll slow it down.
So the drag and drop, it could be that so I was experimenting a little bit with it, and it didn't work for me when I'm still in the mode. When you're in Keynote, then you have to be like in the working mode and not anymore in the mode where you are changing the size of your canvas.
Okay, so I don't understand. So if I go here and I have, I'll be nice, and I have Procreate open, right? And I put my Keynote open. If I go here, Procreate's over here, and I drag it to the side. So now I haven't done anything. And now I take that layer and I drag it here. and it's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So
So some people are having problems with Procreate and dragging over. So I think
okay.
it's just.
Okay now. Okay, so listen. So
But I
that's
think
the
Mona let me know that it worked at the kind of position where you are in. So first you showed something in Keynote, and then you have to go to normal in Keynote, and then you can drag it in.
okay.
So I'm not explaining it right. Sorry. So
Okay.
just move on.
Okay, but listen, so I thought it would be really wonderful because if you can drag and drop things like this, it just saves a ton of time, right?
Definitely.
But we could have done things like, if you would have saved all of these as images, you could use the plus sign and then have these images just added by using the plus sign.
Yes, Mona was just explaining now what I was trying to explain.
Okay,
Thank you,
great.
Mona. When you go out the work mode, where you define size of paper, you can drag and drop. Thank you, Mona, for helping me out.
Thank you so much. So now we have our 3 elements here that we want to be using. And we only want the flower to be on the screen itself. So we would tap on the bee, and the minute you tap on an object, it has these little points, right? And we're just going to move that bee over and out of our slide. Anytime you tap, yeah, now none of my objects are not active. And I would just pinch the screen so that I can see all of my elements, those elements that are off the slide and those elements that are on the slide. Now, all I want is for my flower to be on the slide. So I grab my little globe and I drag it down. Yeah? So now, if you've been successful, you have 1 flower here. Is that okay? Have I killed everybody, Laura, and everybody doesn't have anything on their screen?
No, everyone is now not asking any more questions.
Okay,
so I think you're fine.
okay.
You're very good so far.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. All right, so that you understand, whatever is in this white slide is going to be shown. Whatever is off the slide, you can have it stored there as elements that you're going to use, but they will not be in your animation until you put them here in this white area. So 2 things that you have to understand about Keynote, and it takes a little bit of Keynote vocabulary in order for you to understand how to use it. So when you want to do things between slides, okay, you want to go from slide to slide, you use a transition, all right? And I'm going to do that in a moment. So what I want to do is I want to use a transition, and I want to use a really special transition called Magic Move. And Magic Move is really cool, and it can help you do tons of things. But right now, all you should have is a flower on your slide. And when you want to make a transition, you tap on the slide itself, and you leave the objects alone. So I would tap on the slide here. So I tap that, and I get a menu. And what I have there then is transition, and I press that. And down here, you have add transition at the bottom. And when you press that, you have a ton of choices. And I want you to choose Magic Move, right? There's one called Magic Move, and you choose that. And once you've chosen Magic Move, you tap on your screen, and it'll ask you to duplicate the slide. And you duplicate. Okay, so now you have here, you have the original slide, and you have the same slide again duplicated. And now you press done, that was on the top corner, so you can return to this view. So I'm sorry, there was a little done on the top right corner, and if you press that, you get back to this view. So all we did was use transition and Magic Move. Tapping on the screen and duplicating. So now we have two. The original slide looks like that, and the new slide looks like that, and there's no difference. And now what I want you to do is I want you to activate the second slide. And I want you to activate the flower on that second slide. And how you activate the flower on that second slide is just by tapping it. And I want you to take the left upper corner and just drag it so it grows. Okay, so all I did was take that little corner and drag it so it grows. All right, so we're there. Okay, so what happens there, if I go back to the first slide and I press play on the top, what did we do? I tap it and it grows. Yeah, so that's easy enough. And now I'm coming back in my work view. Yeah, and I have a flower that has grown. And now what I want to do is I want to bring the bee in here. So the bee is out of my screen. He's off screen, like he's off scene. And what I want to do is I want to use another great thing called animate. So remember, transition was to do something from one slide to another and to use this special thing called magic move. But now I'm going to animate. And animate you really use to move objects in a certain way. So I want this bee to fly onto this flower, just like Laura did. But I want to do it here. So now whatever I want to do to an object, okay, if I press this object, I tap it, I get a menu. Just like when I pressed this slide, I got a menu and I get to transition. Now I'm animating this object. So I press the object and I get to animate. I press animate and you look down here and there are different builds, okay? There are different builds and you can have like build in or build or add action or add build out. So there are those kind of choices you have and those are all called builds. And that's the only real vocabulary you need. Transition is from slide to slide. Animate is when you want to make some object do something. And then these are builds. So what I'm going to do is add an action. So I'm going to press that. I have my B is active. I have add an action. And I'm going to take this one, create path. So the first choice is create path. And I press that. And now I'm just going to pinch here so you can see all of my screen. You'll see that a red dot has appeared here on the bee. And now with my pencil, I'm going to take and make the bee's flight pattern. And it's going to go and fly there to that flower. Super easy. You didn't have to do 1 million copy group, duplicate group as you do in Procreate. Yeah. So all you did to do is grab that little bee and draw its flight path and where it lands. So that's done. Okay. And so again, there's a done up here.
Raquel?
Yeah.
Raquel? Some people are asking if they tap the B, that the box doesn't show, it just says select all. Do you have an idea how that might be possible?
Let me see. So if I tap my B, so you don't have the animate there?
No, it says select all with some people.
Oh, that's strange. Are you touching other things? Oh no, you're pressing the slide. You're not pressing the B. So if I press the area around it, if I press the slide or I miss the B, it'll say select all. Make sure you are touching the B. So are you pressing the B? Because if I don't press the B and I miss it, I get this select all. But if I
I
touch
think
the
that's a
action,
good goal. So you could move on. I think you got
yeah,
the glitches.
okay, good. So then, so okay. So now we have drawn that movement. So if we go back and look, what do we have so far? We have a growing flower, and we have a bee that flies in and lands on the flower. So it's also fun for us to do a little something. Since Laura's flower moved, then I want my flower to move too. So if I go to the flower and I tap it and I get animate, right? Then I would add an action, and I'm going to add a little jiggle like that. Woo! It's so excited, the little bees there, right? And I think it would be cool too. So I press done up here. So I'm always getting out of my animate by pressing done. If I press the B again and I press animate, all right, and then I press the motion path, I want, I'll have here all the animations that I have associated with that B. Well, I want him also to add a little jingle. So I put jiggle. So he's going to fly in, and I add a little jiggle, and I press done. I press my B again. I press animate, and there now it says multiple in the middle, because remember, we have made a path for him to fly, and we've made a jiggle. So I press multiply, and you'll see the list of things that my bee does. So I've made a path for him, I've made a jiggle, and now I press plus again, and I press create path. And then you'll notice we have again the red dot on the bee, and now I want him to fly away. Okay? So, and I press done. And up here, you always have to press done to get out of this. What if you're doing an animation or if you're doing a transition, you have to press the top corner done to get out. All right, so let's go back and touch our first slide. Press play on the top, the button play, and tap for now. I have to keep tapping because I haven't done anything so anything that I want to show up, the animation, it'll tap. Okay, now I don't like that it jiggles and then it jiggles, right? One jiggles at another time. So when we want to be refining our animations, we go to the dot, dot, dot that we had up there, right? We have that dot, dot, dot up there in the corner, and we go to transitions and builds. So remember, we had that word builds here, right? Those are all these build in, out, or the actions that you make. So we check that transitions and builds, and then we go to this other strange little icon here that looks like a list, like a to-do list. And you press that, and now you're going to get all of the builds that we've made there. So I'll do that again. So when we're in this mode where we have nothing active, our slide is there, we go to the dot, 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 we look for transitions and builds, we tap that, and then there's between play and done, there's like a little list icon. And you press that and you'll see all the builds that we have made. Now I want things to just work without me having to tap them or me having to do anything. So we had a motion path where the bee flew in. So we tap that. And if you look down here, it says, will it start on tap or will it start after the transition? So I'm going to choose after transition, right? Because remember, transition was after it has moved from one slide to the other. Then we have the bee doing a little jiggle, but I don't want that to happen yet because, and I want this, if you press, how can I explain this? So we have here motion path for the bee, jiggle for the bee. Then we have the motion path again for the bee, which was the bee flying off screen. And then we have the flower jiggle. So I'd like to move this flower jiggle here next to the bee jiggle. Okay, when it goes that diddle, diddle, diddle. So if I press the jiggle for the bee, if I look at where do I want the build to start, I want it to start after build one. So build one is the motion path. So I want it to start after that. Then if I press the flower, you can have different choices here. Will it start with build two or after build two? Well, I want the bee to jiggle and the flower to jiggle together because I think that'll be nice. So I press with build two because build two was the bee jiggling. Then the last thing is the motion path that we drew for the bee to leave our flower. And we'd like that to happen after build three, which is after the flower and the bee have jiggled. All right. And again, anytime you're doing anything in the animation or in the transition, you want to press done. So if we go back and to our first slide and we press play, that's what we should get. One thing that we might not have done here, if I go to transition, press my first slide and go to transition, I press magic move, I haven't changed how it's going to start. So I press automatically. So it doesn't require me to do any tapping, or there won't be any delays in between. And you'll have a lot less to futz around with in the end if you do these changes and make them go automatically. And again, we've done that, we press done, right? So that's what we have so far. I'm looking at the time, I wanna be conscious of time. And Laura, do you have a question?
No.
Oh, okay, great. So I'm just going to, so that's basically some of the things that I wanted, I think I can show you in this time frame. Something flying in, something moving. So you have tons and tons of choices of animations. So I'll show you what I did. So unfortunately, we won't have enough time to do the whole thing, but I'll show you the animation that I did make.
Oh, this is a good question by Bia.
Yeah.
How do you save it as a GIF?
Yes, I will show you in a second. So I just wanted to show you what is possible, what would have been possible. I thought we would have a chance, but so I've got that little guy flying in. Yeah, and we do our little jiggle and he flies out. And then I move this in. I've duplicated all the flowers. Do the bee again. The bee is just flying in, jiggling, which you know how to do. And then I made the writing come in. So I will just show you. I think that all the other elements you learned how to do. Oh, sorry. All the other elements you know how to do. You know how to make something fly in. You knew how to make something jiggle. But what if you wanted to write something? So we'll just do that now. Here, on your second slide, if you have your Apple Pencil, you press the screen, tap the screen, and this type of menu should come out. If you tap the screen with your Apple Pencil, and you take your crayon, and you write. So I'll write like feed the bees. Yeah. All right, so I have that now, and I press done. Now what I do is I press this text, and again I get, oops, sorry. That happens when you touch your screen with your Apple Pencil. So I have this text, and I press animate, and now I choose build in. And in build in, you have line draw. So if you press that, it will write your writing. It'll draw it in. Okay. So now I have, this is what I have as a wonderful animation at this point. And now I'm very happy with it. And I want to export. I go again to my dot, dot, dot. I press it here. I export it as a movie. Okay, so you export it as a movie. And then you can choose the resolution you want. And you press export. And you can save the video on your device. Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's good to say that it also is the same for Procreate, that if you export it as a GIF, then in social media it won't show. So you always export it as a MP4 or as a movie.
Yeah.
And sometimes you will just make some adjustments in iMovie. But if you export it in a GIF, it's just very useful in WhatsApp or something, but not on social media.
Yes. So those are the kinds of things I think that for me anyway, when I'm using these devices in such a way that, for example, PowerPoint or Keynote, hold on, I'll stop sharing my screen. So when you're using PowerPoint or Keynote, I want you to think back, for those of you who can remember PowerPoint presentations in the 90s that had bling and blang and blah, all of those awful things, right? Now they are allowed when you use it for animation. When something comes in and crystallizes or flies over your screen, it's just a wonderful animation when it's done with drawings. Before we couldn't stand it with text coming in with blings and blangs and sparkles and things shaking about. But if you play around even just with circles and boxes and just play around with the animation, the transitions and the building tools that you have here to animate, you can make them do quite lovely things. If I just show you for one moment, if I go to my Instagram, all of these things I've made using PowerPoint and using Draw. Okay, so these are really, really simple GIFs. Super simple. And the sound, if you want to know where the sound has come from, then I've just quickly popped it into iMovie, and iMovie has a bank of sounds. And we don't have time to show you how to do that here, but just dragging and dropping the wonderful sound effects that exist in iMovie is really fast and easy, because you don't need any speaking voices. You just need blings and blongs and blooms.
I don't think you have that on your iPad, but if you have a MacBook, you have sounds.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
But
then there are always other ways. Yeah. So I think, Raquel, we're coming to an end of our super fast workshop. Yeah. And I think there are still some questions. Oh, Benjamin is coming in. I'll admit him. Okay. But you can see the taping again and watch it again if you missed anything, and we'll send you an email with some information.
Yeah. Rosanna has a question. Yeah, Rosanna, please.
I saw you using the crayon and make the line draw to animate the text, but if you type it in, can you animate the typed in text with the same effect?
I think so. I haven't tried it. So try it, Rosanna. Tell me how it goes. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Good question. Good question.
This is so much fun. You guys are amazing.
And again, these are such the tools like why it's Keynote is because it's free. It comes with your iPad for those of you who are working on your iPad. So use it, exploit it. It's just have fun with it and play like do a square and try every animation. What happens when it does this? What happens when it does that? And so you
And I
can
think,
figure out what it does, and then you could figure out where you'd like to use it with a real drawing, right?
yeah, and I think Procreate is good for some kind of animations, but for the other ones, Keynote is better, or PowerPoint. So I find that Procreate is easier when I have a complex illustration and want things to move. I don't want to export everything. I just want to make some small changes. But if you want things to fly in, then Keynote is so much easier and so much faster. It has so much more flow. So I think it's just thinking about what I want to animate, and then what kind of tool works best for that.
Yeah.
So one other question, can you integrate a complex drawing, let's say that's something that you've done on Procreate and you import it into Keynote, can you animate parts of that drawing with the complex drawing being done on Procreate?
There are ways to, I haven't done it, but I've looked at it now, that it is possible sort of to cut areas in your presentation. And I remember seeing actually a video, I haven't done it, but I've looked into it. And there's a video. I will put it in. I know there's a video on it. So I will put it into the message we send you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we wrap it up? So, so for all the Dutch people out there, I'm teaching a workshop in Procreate on the 27th of May, and also Raquel.
Yeah, I will be next week. I will be releasing registration for online live online course that will go for 3 weeks. And so trying to do what I've been doing live or in-person workshops, but really thinking about how it could be given live now during this time when many of us are working from home with other people who are home. So I've really thought a lot about how does the fact that we are all home and our clients are home change the way that we're working. And let's see going forward how it changes as well. So if you're interested in that, then get in touch with me, and I'll be, of course, advertising as much as I can. But if you're interested and you want to know more, then just contact me. Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming out and spending this time with us.
I show you the honey for my own bees.
Yes, I know.
Remember?
Yes, you're the bee lady.
Yeah.
Caroline.
Thank you very much, Raquel and Laura. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. This was
Thank
amazing.
you so much.
Thank you. Keep
Nice to see all of you healthy.
Yeah.
Yay. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So take care, everybody. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
You girls rock.
Ah, thank you.
You're so
Say
cool.
that.
Oh my God, you're like like a shredder.
Yeah. Well, watch the video and pause.
Yes.
I love you, ladies. You were amazing. Thank you. Ciao.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
I have one question. I'm new to my iPad, as Raquel, you know. Where do I find the bloody GIF?
It depends where you saved it.
Yeah, I just pressed export,
Yeah.
and then it was very satisfied with being complete, but I can't find it anywhere.
Is it in your images?
In your photos?
No,
Do it again. Tell me
I
where.
did it again.
But what is the command? What's showing?
What's showing is
When you press export, what shows?
when I press export, I'm doing it again, animated GIF, and then it gives me the GIF options. Yeah,
No, you're where?
I'm in Keynote.
No. You press the dots and then export and
Yeah.
movie. Do movie.
Export.
Don't choose
Movie.
GIF.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Movie.
And export.
Yeah. So export and then movie.
Yeah.
And then export. Yeah. And now it does a little line.
Play video.
It opens up a new menu, right? and you put save video,
Gotcha.
and then it'll be in your photos.
It is.
Yay! Good.
Mwah! Much love.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao. Okay, everybody else good? Paula, you okay? I'm going to unmute you.
This has been messing me up. Every time I press it, how do I move something in Procreate? I just want to move it. What is is it one finger?
Okay. You go to the little arrow.
Select what?
You go to the little arrow. It's on top of your screen. You see all these like little pictograms. Yeah. There's also the arrow, and then you select it, and then you can move it.
Oh, I don't have to put the squiggly thing around it first?
No.
No.
Oh, I think that's what's been messing me up. I've been selecting it. So I can just...
If you have only one thing on your layer, you can just move it around by selecting it.
Yeah, Paula, put one thing per layer.
Right. Okay. So I hit the arrow. Oh, that's so much better. Thanks.
Yay.
Yay. Okay. Thanks.
Super.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
That's great.
Thanks.
I think Steve is having...
Yeah. Okay, I think...
I don't know what Steve wants. Steve, do you have questions, or if you are zoomed out from the object, you're...
Yeah, I think I'm going to remove you now, Steve. So bye-bye.
Wait.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah. What do we do without video or sound?
I'm sorry, I didn't even look at the chat. I thought he was...
It's so funny. No, wait. Remove.
Okay, hold on. I gotta stop recording.